Good morning, everyone. Gonna give folks a second to come in. We still see the count going up, so we'll give folks a few seconds to trickle. Good morning. Good morning. We're still giving folks a few minutes to trickle in, and we'll get started shortly. All right. Good morning, everyone. My name is Brittany Cheatham. I'm the Communications Manager with Forward Justice. I thank you all for joining us today as we celebrate the official launch of our Unlock Our Vote campaign. This morning, we'll be talking to you through a bunch of different elements to the campaign. We got a jam-packed agenda, so we're going to try to keep things moving. This morning, we'll hear from Darryl Akins, co-director of Forward Justice, Rev Dr Anthony Spearman, president of North Carolina NAACP. We'll hear from Whitney Carpenter, staff attorney with Forward Justice. You'll hear from some of our organizational plaintiffs. We'll introduce them as they come up. And you'll also be hearing from Mr. Dante Sharp this morning. Immediately following this session, for the media members who registered, we'll be moving into our media engagement session for our Q&A. And we look forward to connecting with you all there. And without further ado, I'm going to kick it off to Darryl to get.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Darryl Akins. I'm co-director of Forward Justice and one of the attorneys involved in our case, Community Success Initiative versus Moore, where we are attempting to expand the we. The North Carolina preamble to the Constitution says we, the citizens of North Carolina. But we know through our state history, not everybody has been included in that we. We had to fight for Black people to be included in that we. We had to fight for women to be included in that we. Today, we're fighting for people who are living in our communities, who are paying taxes, who are dropping kids off at school, but happen to be serving a felony sentence on probation. We're fighting that they be included in the we. Because what we know is that mass incarceration and mass criminalization in many ways has undercut many of the gains of the civil rights movement. Once you're convicted of a crime, you can be legally denied your right to vote, to serve on a jury, to run for public office, to get public benefits, to live in public housing, to apply for a litany of jobs and other rights. As a result, scholars have called what's happening today the new Jim Crow. We started this campaign because we're going to strike a blow at the new Jim Crow. We're going to expand the we to include people on probation, parole, and post-release because they should be able to have a voice in what the rules are in society. That's the classic example of taxation without representation. These folks are living every day in our communities, doing the right thing, but they have no civic voice, and that's wrong. And we're going to change that. So we're doing this in multiple ways. Our campaign has multiple facets. We're suing in court, where we're trying to get those voting rights expanded, and we have a big hearing coming up next week that I've been preparing for on August the 19th. We're also have been reaching out to folks since the beginning of 2019 with our grassroots organizers and second chance coordinators like Mr. Daquan Peters and folks like Denise Gaddy that you'll hear from, who are reaching out to people every day who currently have the right to vote, encouraging them to get registered, animating them that this election matters because we're in the midst of a global pandemic that we haven't seen since 1918. We're in the midst of social unrest where we've had sustained protests in over 100 different cities, and we haven't seen that since 1968. And we're in the midst of one of the hugest contraction of our economy, where GDP decreased by 1/3, and we have over close to 30 to 40 million people unemployed. All of this is happening at the same time. If this is a moment to have people's civic voice included in who should make the rules to the game, now is that moment, folks. That's why we're bringing this lawsuit right now. That's why we're unlocking the vote. That's why we're contacting low propensity voters, encouraging them to expand the we, because we know we win when we have an expanded we. Thank you.
Thank you, Darryl. Love the way you get folks fired up. We're going to kick it to Reverend Spearman now to talk a little bit more.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our Unlock Our Vote campaign. I am the Rev Dr. Anthony Spearman, President of the North Carolina NAACP. In this highly politicized, militarized, criminalized, racialized, and now pandemicized nation each of us calls home, it would be especially refreshing if we could live out the length of our days as a constitutionally centered, peace-promoting, and morally minded people. The kind of people spoken of in the preamble of this nation's Constitution. You all know that ideal utopian people and place where we, the people of the United States who suffer to form a more perfect union, where justice is established, where domestic tranquility is ensured, where the general welfare is promoted, and where we fully expect to seize opportunities to shape a new world out of the mess of a world we have made. We, the people, have the power to ordain, and we, the people, have the power to repeal. But we must learn to operate from the better part of ourselves in order to shape this new world. As we struggle for the kind of love and justice to mold this kind of world, let me remind you that it can and it has been done. Way back in the New Testament biblical days, a brown Palestinian Jew named Jesus sought to shape a new world with a radical vision that he came pronouncing. A vision that found him repeating words spoken by the prophet Isaiah. Yet when Jesus reiterated the words that Isaiah the prophet had spoken, the people of his day not only listened to the words, but they also watched as the words were transformed into certifiable evidence that this brown Palestinian Jew was indeed a man among the most moral and the most just of men. He said, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he has anointed me to proclaim good news to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim freedom for the prisoners and recovery of sight for the blind, to set the oppressed free." Allow me to expound on that word, freedom. Freedom is to relieve some restriction from. Freedom is to remove some hindrance from. Freedom is to let something or someone off the hook and stop depriving folk of certain inalienable rights. My dears, what has happened to our holding institutions is utterly sinful, and it is time for them to be transformed. I deem it immoral to disenfranchise any citizen who is a citizen the right to vote. Morally speaking, this disfranchisement is the product of an explicitly racist effort after the Civil War to suppress the political power of African Americans. Although African Americans constitute 22% of the voting age population in North Carolina, they represent 42% of the people disfranchised while on probation, parole, or post-release supervision. It is time to unlock our vote. Constitutionally speaking, the Free Elections Clause mandates that elections in North Carolina ascertain the will of the people, and precludes laws that unduly interfere with that mandate. It is time to unlock our vote. The moral perspective Jesus brought to the world must be shared by the world. When our nation's returning citizens have an opportunity for redemption and employment and re-enfranchisement, we all win. Returning citizens will work to make our communities safer. Returning citizens will work to make our economy stronger. And returning citizens will work to redeem our democracy, and hence we will all live better lives. We have a new world to shape, and I know you all want to join me because it is time to unlock our vote.
Thank you, Reverend Spearman. Next, we're going to hear from Reverend Erika Williams, National Social Justice Organizer with Preparers of the Breach.
Good morning, family. It's morning where I am in Washington, but it is afternoon where you are. And so it is so good to be with you all today. And as Dr. Spearman has already got us started, I'm here today and I'm so fired up in terms of we ain't just got to unlock the vote, we got to take the vote. And so today I am here, as Dr. Spearman said, I represent that brown-skinned Palestinian Jew, as he talked about, who when he stepped on the scene, he said it very loud and very clear. He did say that the Spirit of the Lord is upon me, for he has anointed me to preach good news to the poor, to heal the brokenhearted, to set the captive free, and to proclaim the acceptable year of the Lord now. And he closed the book and he said to him, this scripture has been fulfilled in your hearing today. He said, it is on. I'm here to set it off. And so here today, I'm with y'all from Washington State, here to let y'all know that it is time for us to set it off in the ballot box. It's here for us to set it off in our community so we can unlock the vote. Too many of our people have been disenfranchised right there in North Carolina. Over 60,000 people have had their rights taken and not been able to vote. And so as we've said as clergy persons, that Jesus Christ told us what we're called to do. And so it is right for us to be here today. It is right for us to be here today to organize and to build this campaign, to do what Jesus Christ did over 2,000 years ago. He set that thing off. And so I'm fired up today because I know that we are on the right side of history. I bring into this conversation today Fannie Lou Hamer and Ella Josephine Baker, women who fought for the rights of our people to be able to vote. And so we must take up their mantle. We must take up their fight, and we must go out and unlock the vote every way that we can. And so I hope that the media is hearing us today. We're not backing off of this thing. We're not shrinking back. We're not going back. We are going to make sure we stand, and we stand boldly together to make sure that all of our people, and I'm so glad to see my dear friend Dante Sharp on this call today. Dante, you might not know me, baby, but I know you, and we fought for you, and we prayed for you because we knew that you were innocent, and we knew that your life needed to be free, and that you should have every right that you deserve. And so we want to go back and get other Dantes. We want to get Dantias and all of the other people who have been disenfranchised in the state of North Carolina and around this nation. And so media, people on this call, this webinar, join us as we as clergy people or people of no faith who believe off the Constitution. We are to promote the general welfare of all people. Let us stand together. Let us march together, and let us fight together and unlock the votes.
Oh, that was a word. Thank you, Reverend Erika. Thank you. Thank you. Very powerful, very powerful. We're going to bring in now, we're going to hear from our organizational plaintiffs in the lawsuit. These are individuals who have stories to tell, and they're going to talk about why this campaign is important. And so we will first hear from Denise Gaddy, the Executive Director of Community Success Initiative. Dennis, take it away. Oh, you're on mute. We can't hear you.
Thank you very much for that, Whitney. Good afternoon to everyone. Very glad to be on this call today, on this Zoom, on this event, which I think is very special. I'm Denise Gaddy, as she said, as stated. I'm the Executive Director for the last 16 years of a nonprofit called Community Success Initiative, one of the lead plaintiffs in this lawsuit, which I'm very proud to be part of that. We always say in our shop and in our movement work that if you have an issue that that you're impacted by, that the persons who are impacted by that problem need to lead the movement to solve the problem. I'm glad to be a part of that by being the lead plaintiff in this lawsuit. I'm also impacted. But I had a job the day I left prison in 2005 and have been gainfully employed, tax-paying American since that time. I was raised in a very civic-minded family in the early 60s, in the heart of the civil rights movement. Yet, I was able to vote for the first African-American president in 2008 because I was still shackled by the chains of probation, which denied me the right to vote. I say it's unfair, even more so unconstitutional. This is why I stand ready to support this lawsuit and the campaign, the Unlock the Vote, Our Vote campaign. I had a friend of mine tell me one time from the news media, he says, every morning when we get up, we ought to be mad about something. I tell you that between now and November 3rd, 2020, every day I wake up mad about not being able to vote while I support this campaign and this lawsuit.
Thank you, Dennis. We're going to turn it over now to Diana Powell, another organizational plaintiff in the suit, and she's the Executive Director of Justice Served.
Good evening, everyone. Again, my name is Diana Powell. I'm the Executive Director of Justice Served in North Carolina. I am pleased to be a part of this movement. I am pleased to be a part of this movement that is powerful and this mission. We are definitely on a mission. We are on a journey for change. I think about our four leaders, John Lewis and all the fighting that they did. And they paved the way. But somewhere along the way, the grass began to grow back up again. And that's why I am a part of this fight. Because now we are at the table, we're in this fight, and we are determined to stay to unlock the vote. I deal with people every day that come home and still are not citizens. They're still not free. When they want to go vote, when we explain to them the power of the vote, and then they have to come into realization that they cannot vote because they still have this dark cloud. They still have this mark on their back that they cannot go to the ballot booth and cast their vote, which is their right. They should be able to have that power to do that. If they are paying taxpayers, then they should have their right to be able to vote. We are all on a mission, and that mission is to unlock the vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Diana. Next, we will hear from another organizational plaintiff in the suit, Corey Purdy. He's the Executive Director of Wash Away Unemployment.
How y'all doing? I just cater this to the individuals that's on this call. And my heart goes out to each and every last individual that's on the call, that's presenting, just speaking, because it's a cost that we pay that we shouldn't have to pay. Each last one, the person on this call have to sacrifice time away from their families. They have to sacrifice time away from their wives. They have to sacrifice time away from their kids. And a lot of these individuals on this call have been released from prison. And upon release from prison, we have a goal and a mission to try to be successful ourselves. So why is it that we have to spend the next 20, 30 years, and some of the individuals on the call like Denise Gaddy and Darryl and everybody, even if you spent one day doing it, you made a sacrifice. And these files right here over the last 14 years have kind of disorganized, because this is how disorganized my life has become. Just been trying to advocate for my brothers and sisters on the inside. And we as individuals on this call shouldn't have to do it because the government should be doing what they're supposed to do. We shouldn't have to worry about when the individuals get out, should we have our rights back? They should have already been taken care of. I already did my time. I went in at 17, came out at 26. Why I still got to continue to pay for a crime? So my hope and my hope that I lost in the vote at first, when I first came out, because I lost hope. They told me I couldn't do this, I couldn't do that. Then I get out, they tell me I couldn't have my right back, I couldn't vote. So I'm like, what the heck with it? So it took me years to even vote, even when I had my right to vote. But that's because I lost hope. But anyway, long story short is that I pray that the government and everybody else get their stuff right, so that people that get out of prison, like the individuals on this call and people that want to advocate, can live normal lives, even though we got a passion to do it. But it makes no sense if we got to spend our life and sacrificing. Some people losing their families, losing their wives, losing relationship with their children, because we out here advocating and trying to fight for the rights of our people. And so anyway, so I salute everyone here, and my advocacy is for you all, that they change the law so that you all can live a life.
Thank you, Corey. Thank you. We are now going to turn it over to Whitney Carpenter, a staff attorney with Forward Justice. We've done some polling around this campaign to gauge public sentiment, and we'll turn it over to Whitney now to talk a little bit about some of the results of our polling data.
Thank you, Brittany. Again, my name is Whitney Carpenter. I'm a staff attorney with Forward Justice. As you've heard, our plaintiffs share their stories and explain why it's so important to unlock the vote for people living in our communities convicted of felonies. I just want to share a few points from recent polling data on this issue. A recent poll conducted by Lake Research Partners and Terrence Group shows that a majority of voters in our state are in support of restoring the voting rights to North Carolinians once they complete their prison sentence, though they may still be on probation, parole, or post-release supervision. Currently, 56% of voters support re-enfranchising people with felony convictions once they have completed their prison sentence. And this support is across racial, gender, educational, religious lines. And Black voters are especially likely to support the re-enfranchisement of people with felony convictions with 76% support. Even when people were presented with a simulation where there were opponents ruthlessly attacking re-enfranchisement, the re-enfranchisement of North Carolinians upon release from prison retained that majority support. In fact, voters sided with that argument for re-enfranchisement over an oppositional attack by a 26-point margin. So to conclude, the overwhelming support of North Carolinians across the state to re-enfranchise people once they complete their prison sentence tells us that the time is now. We must take action to address this unjust practice, to bring a sense of hope, as Corey mentioned, to our neighbors who are trying to reintegrate into our communities, and to truly live up to our democratic values so that the voices of all of our people, including those with criminal histories, can be heard. It's time to unlock the vote. I'm now going to turn it over to Daquan Peters, a community organizer with the North Carolina Second Chance Alliance, who is currently unable to vote due to this harmful disenfranchisement scheme. Thank you.
Thank you, Whitney. Thank you, everyone else. I appreciate the energy that everyone gave prior to me. My name is Daquan Peters. I'm the New Hanover County Second Chance Alliance coordinator. And while my brothers and sisters are fighting to unlock the vote, my job is to organize and unlock the minds of those who was once hopeless, as Corey just mentioned. You have a lot of brothers and sisters that are hopeless. So freedom to me is actually freedom. Once you free the mind, then you free the dome. You could see the BS that they've been shoveling down to us, and we know and understand that we can't keep going for that. So when you have people, and that positive energy always creates elevation. So when you take the first letter word of positive energy always creates elevation, it stands for peace. And what do we fight for? Freedom, justice, peace, love, happiness, all of these things. So until you show and prove that these people are filthy in all their affairs by keeping us locked out, we're not no longer talking about give us the key. We kicking doors in. We coming up in the courtrooms. We all over everywhere. You can't lock us out no more, because the moment you lock one door, another door gonna open. Why is it gonna open? Because we're gonna make sure it open. Because we got the blood of Denmark Vesey, we got the blood of Nat Turner. We ain't submissive no more. We ain't submitting to nothing else. So this is the purpose of organizing. You know, we must organize because we have to we have to re-educate everybody who's been miseducated. And once you've been re-educated, now your eyes are open. Now your dome is free. Then we can see what justice really is, because justice is just I see equality being done. If there's no equality, there's no justice. So in order to unlock the vote, I hear people every day ask me, man, why should I vote? What's the purpose of my vote? Because the power of the people is greater than the people in power. That's why, for one. Because you give them the power, but they have said powers. The powers that we have is the ones that put them in there. And like my brother Darryl always say, Every one of them have something in common. They're elected officials. And not only that, the same way you vote them in, you can vote them out. This is the reason why we see what's going on around us every day. So to go out into the community and deal with the brothers and sisters who are hopeless, then we shine light on them. So once that light come into their mind, then they can be able to see clear. They can get an understanding, because understanding to me is seeing things clearly for what they are, not what they appear to be. Now we know that we have people that's in the courtrooms every day telling these people, this is wrong, this is wrong. But we also need the community support behind it. And that's the purpose of organizing. That's the purpose of giving you back that hope, giving you back that focus, and having an agenda to keep going forward and keep pushing, not hearing no, 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 no. We ain't going for no. What we're saying is unlock our votes or else. Or else. If you don't unlock that vote, I'm telling you right now, we ain't stopping. We not stopping. We ain't going backwards. We going forward. Life is a constant state of elevation. And as long we elevate, you can't stop us. You fear us more than anything. That's why you want to stop us. You fear that black vote. You fear the black vote, because then you think we're going to reverse the roles on you, which we would. But we telling you right now, unlock that vote or else. Thank you.
Thank you, Daquan. Thank you, thank you. So Daquan is one of our organizers to be working with the Second Chance Alliance. This campaign will be targeting community outreach to low propensity voters. To Daquan's point, we're not going to continue to be marginalized. And so their work as organizers will be reaching out to and engaging low propensity voters in the community, especially those with criminal records, those who have been marginalized and forgotten, because that is how we will expand the we and we the people and expand access to our democracy. So we're going to now get over to Dante Sharp and close us out. Dante, take it away.
What's up, everybody? Good afternoon. I'm thankful to be here, man. Because as y'all, a lot of y'all know, a lot of y'all the one helped get me out off that life sentence for something I didn't do. And I like to cry earlier when she was talking, the pastor, every time I think about, just see me out here. I've been crying a lot since I've been out sometimes. I feel like I done got soft out of but it's just my heart used to be hard up in there, because like Daquan was saying, we used to talk about it a lot in prison. What's the use? Even if we do get the vote, what's the use of it? We should talk about that when we used to see the elections on TV and stuff like that. We think the system rigged and set up, but you hear a lot of people talking about, I was just home with my mother them this weekend, we was talking about stuff like that. And a lot of people in the black community just don't have confidence in the system, and it's justified, but, still, this is my first chance, to be able to get out and vote, and I'm gonna take advantage of it. I try to tell people to get out and vote. And you hear a lot of people crying and complaining about stuff, but if you ain't gonna get out and vote, ain't no need you running your mouth. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no need just talking about it. If you ain't gonna get out and vote, if you can. If you can't vote, like I always say, go tell somebody else that that can vote to go vote. Don't tell them who to vote for, but encourage them to vote, encourage them to use their voice, but I can't, he took all of what I wanted to say, a lot of things that I wanted to say that was coming to me, I can tell we like-minded, you know what I'm saying? And I appreciate that. And I'm just grateful to be here, to be able to vote. And I just hope everybody else get out and vote. If you don't get out and vote, don't say nothing. Just sit back and go with the flow. It ain't gonna change. You want to get them out of there, you got to vote. If you vote, you get one out and get one in that you can work with. We know all of them got something with them, but just try to look them up, listen to them, see what they're about, and then vote for them. You vote for one, you vote the other one out. So get out and vote. That's all I can tell you. The vote is unlocked. I'm unlocked. All us that been to prison been unlocked, and then Second Chance and Forward Justice and NAACP and all the organization people, they fighting and working. I'm amongst them, and I see what they doing. They ain't about no BS. They ain't bull jiving. I know they is. They don't help me. I'm the living example of it. So I ain't supposed to be here with a life sentence. I was told I won't never gonna be out. They did it. They did what they did. They worked for me, and they doing the work for unlocking the vote for Second Chance. So all I can tell you to do is try to get with them. Look at the websites so you can get down with the program. I don't need talking about it if you ain't gonna be about it. That's all I can say.
Thank you, Dante. Thank you, thank you. And so we want to thank all of you for joining us. Our hearing in the case is set for August the 19th, 9:30 a.m. We are hoping to have a link to share with all of you. We want to pack the hearing. We want to continue to send our rallying call to unlock our votes. And so if you all have registered, we will be more than happy to share the information with you when it's available to us so that you're able to watch that hearing as Whitley and Darryl and all these folks stand in court and argue for voting rights to be restored to nearly 60,000 North Carolinians. For all the members of the press who pre-registered for our session, we will see you over on the Zoom link. We're going to do some in-depth Q&A. And to everyone else, thank you all for joining us today. And thank you for standing with us in the fight as we continue to fight to have all of our votes unlocked. You all have a wonderful day.